Welcome back once again to the Marianne Hickman Show. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that we get to spend this time together, whether you're in the sauna or whether you're running errands, whether you're up early in the morning and you listen to an episode during your drive. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to delve into these things that I'm curious about. A lot of people ask me, Marianne, what is your podcast about? And yes, we have speakers on here. Yes, we talk about events. Yes, we talk about all of that. But, I'm curious about people. There are some amazing individuals out there. You've heard them on the show. You've met some of them in real life. And I want to hear their stories. So that's what this show is all about, is everyone who interests me, who I'm curious about. And you know what? When I had Drew come onto the show, the man you're about to listen to today, I was super curious. I was curious about what makes this man tick. When I saw him at one of our networking events, I knew something was different about him. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But when we sat down here in the studio, I thought, oh my gosh, this guy has something beautiful inside his soul. He's not a salesy guy, but he's one of the most connected, networked humans that I've ever met. He's kind of gives off, the next billionaire next door energy, but super accessible, super kind, and has a heartfelt mission that came from losing one of his children. And I want him to share this with you in this episode. And as always, if someone's name comes to mind, and I know it does, while you're listening to the episode, Stacy needs to hear this. Jared needs to hear this. Oh my gosh, what Drew just said. I need to send this to my husband. Send it to them, please, because they're praying for what you just got. That's why their name popped up in your brain. I'm excited for you to meet Drew. I'll see you in the episode. So one of the questions that Mel Robbins asks every guest, which I think is such a great intro for every podcast, is if someone were to sit down for an hour with you, how can they expect to be better? What gift would you be able to give them?
Yeah, I would say tips on professional networking, obviously how to make friends, and then just the love of helping solve problems in the world of sales.
Yeah.
And maybe some useless pop culture information about video games. Because I own a retro video game store, Marianne.
Okay, I should have had my son in here. He's usually my producer, and he's all about the retro video games right now. Like, he's only 13, so retro for him is like block blast.
Right. Yeah.
But
it's a little different for us, 40s and up.
I know, right? Yeah. I'm thinking like Atari, Mario.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about this. And there was another mission that you were involved in that I wanted to make sure we touched on as well. I want to get to that. But professional networking. Okay, so we live in a world where I think the business cards are losing they've already lost.
For sure.
It's just landfill fodder at this point. Tell me about professional networking. Tell me about how we're doing it wrong.
Well, since you started with business cards, I'll kind of build on that. So I invest in a software tech company. It's called Pitch 59.
We've had the owners on the show.
Jeff's great. And it's a cool product, but it like levels up your networking because it allows people, instead of regurgitating what you do, it has a 59-second video explanation. Mm-hmm. And if you professionally edit that and use that well, that can do a lot in 59 seconds. So.
Have you seen a lot of traction from that for you?
For me, I have actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about it. Business cards are landfill now, and it's super sleazy to like, here's my book and read my book, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Where are we? What should we be doing as far as networking goes? Starting from, I know I want to, I'm not even out there yet. I know I want to network and I know I need to network.
I think people have a transactional mindset. What's in it for me? Attitude. And so when you're networking, it's give to give. It's because I like you, I want to help you. And if you have that attitude, then when you make an introduction and it's a bona fide referral, not say, hey, Marianne, go talk to my friend. I barely know them, but maybe they need your service. Mm-hmm. It kind of sends you on a wild goose chase. But if I tee it up and I have a relationship that's legitimate and I make that introduction warm, and I mean like in person is the ideal. Mm-hmm. Too many people are like, well, I'll do a 3-way email. Well, then we're both chasing email. We don't know the urgency. You don't know the context. And we're all so bombarded with so many emails, right?
I can't tell you how many are in my inbox right now.
Right.
And I feel bad because it takes me 3 or 4 days to find the introduction and it feels weak. Yeah. I feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have a mutual friend, Sean Finnegan, and I don't know how he keeps up on all the 3-way texts that guy
He's the king of it. Right? I don't know how he does
it. And so, Sean, I want to be like you when I grow up. But obviously, I make those introductions like that all the time. And I'm basically like, you can take me off the thread after you guys get connected. But I like to do lunches or in-person introductions. I think it breaks the ice and it's just a more genuine, natural way to get connected. And then you endorse that friendship. And to me, if you can't get them to meet with you for coffee or lunch, it's like, how deep is your influence with this person anyway? Why am I introduced to them? What's the, so to me, you have to have a high level of influence and trust with someone, and you have to know them and like them enough to make the networking actually go the next level.
Have you ever made introductions that just end up falling flat?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the trick with that. It's not that it's a bad referral. The receiver has one obligation. You have to follow up.
Uh-huh.
I've done door-to-door sales, and the best salespeople I know, they take way more rejection than anyone else. And they're persistent. They know how to deal with that rejection. They have a high tolerance of rejection, resilience. And so when someone says, no, not now, maybe, it's the person that received the referral to foster that relationship over time. It's not their job to be like, yep, one call close. You got referred to me. No, that's not what this is. It's like, you got to still nurture the relationship, build value, overcome objections. It's a sales process, but it's shorter because I cracked the ice for you. I just made the introduction. So now you're that much further. I've done cold calling. It's a lot. It's like 12 touches, whereas maybe a referral is like 7, so you got to think of it in those terms. Like, and then you have to make the person that referred you look good. You want to give them an update. You want to say thank you. I don't care how good or bad the referral is. I've seen too many ungrateful networkers just get a referral and just be like poo-poo on it. And it's like, no, you have to be like so gracious. Like, thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for going out of your way to make the effort to introduce me. What can I do to make your friend happy? As much as it's their decision to buy from me, I still value whoever introduced me, and I want them to be a part of it as long as they want to be.
Yeah.
And then the feedback you want to get back to your friend that gave you the referral is, oh my gosh, Drew took such great care of me on my merchant account. Everything went great. Thank you so much. Because then at the next meeting we go to, they stand up and tell that story. It has way more impact than me. I'm such a great salesman, blah, blah, blah. The person that gave me the referral goes, hey, you know what? My friend said Drew did an awesome job with it and it went smooth. That's what you're looking for. Well,
and that's what I love about our mutual networking group that we hang out with all the time, is that that's all that group is. And I feel so lucky that I met you in that group, that group even exists. When I was chatting with Sean, props to Sean, I was like, how did you sell out? You're not even selling tickets, it's free, but how did you pack a room?
Yeah, standing room only.
With 200 to 300, not just new entrepreneurs hoping to meet big pockets. These are really established people. Mm-hmm. Some of them are new to business, but they're not desperate, right? Mm-hmm. How did you fill a room bursting at the seams with such high quality people, so much so that nobody misses? People fly out of town. We never miss an X room ever. Mm-hmm. And it just astounds me. I'm sitting here taking notes from Sean. I'm like, I want to learn the art of gathering like you've mastered it, man. But you take it a step beyond that. You're making these introductions and you're modeling something that I think is really important. It makes me think of an introduction I got from Jeff Griffin.
Oh, yeah. Jeff's great.
Such a great guy.
Great guy.
And he introduced me to a ranch owner of a boys ranch down in Springfield, Mapleton, down there. And we went and spent an afternoon with them. And I'm so grateful to Jeff. And I'm like, thank you so much for this introduction. And Jeff has nothing to gain from it.
Yeah.
Nothing to gain from it. And that's the mindset that you're talking about. You have to make the introduction for the sake of it.
Yeah. And obviously, like, there's so many commodity services. Like, I sell merchant service. There's how many of us know a realtor? How many of us know PNC insurance agent? Right. So what I kind of look at too is when I do one-to-ones now, it's like, what is your main demographic? Like, and don't tell me it's the Wasatch Front, the Wasatch Back, all over the state, nationwide. No, tell me, like, what 3 zip codes do you want to penetrate the most? Which ones are the most important to you? Because then I can tell you who I know in those areas, and then we can fine tune your referrals because I can tell you who I know in those zip codes.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot easier to profile match. Like, hey, I think Marianne, your personality, you're such, you'd be such a good fit for this person, and try to really match it up based on a common interest, a similar goal. You know what I mean? A similar size family, whatever. Like, just try to listen for those things, because I think when people kind of bond over a couple things that of mutual interest, business gets done a lot quicker and more naturally when we drive with these people,
Right.
And so I look at it that way too. I don't look at just referring people just so they get a sale. It's got to be, how are you going to help my friend? And are you really the right fit for them? And if I'm going to introduce you, what should I say about you, right? And I need to know if, like, there's so much that goes into it. It's like interviewing. If you've ever recruited or managed people, you're doing a lot of that.
Well, so there's, you mentioned transactional.
Yeah.
How do you sniff out the transactional people? What's your tell? Because when you do enough networking, there's some red flags that start to crop up.
Yeah.
If you were to just help the people that are listening make really good introductions, be around really quality people, or maybe we're starting off as transactional and we don't even know it, right? Because I think every new entrepreneur, that they're an entrepreneur, they're new at it, they want to grow their business.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you have to have some transactions, right?
Sure.
So how do we stop being transactional if we are?
Yeah.
And how do we spot and also care for the transactional people, but also maybe at a loving distance?
Yeah, sure. Well, I would say seasoned networkers know that networking is like building long-term relationships. And it's more like farming, not hunting. Whereas sales is hunting. I want to knock a door. I want to pull a door. I want to get the phone out, and ask someone to make a purchasing decision, right? With networking, I'm a salesperson. You're a salesperson. But you have a black book with connections that you've made that I don't have. Mm-hmm. And I have several too. So the goal here is to know each other well enough to know what our target market is and our avatar of our existing customers that we can share if it makes sense to share. Mm-hmm. And I think to sniff them out, to use the word, I mean, like you can tell when people have commission breath. They're like at the networking meeting, like you just mentioned business card fodder. They're the ones that are slapping a business card in your hand or a flyer in your hand. You're like, seriously? Like, honestly, that's it. There's a time and place for stuff like that. But the reality is they don't know who they're looking for. So they're like, are you my customer? Are you my customer?
You just said something really important that I want. Rewind 15 seconds and listen to this again. You said they don't know what they're looking for, so they think it's everyone.
Yes.
And they burn bridges.
Yeah, it's just like,
that, right?
They don't care what your story is. It's all about their product, and they push it.
Yeah.
And they push it. And so what I found is, like, in networking, it's more important to be interested than interesting. It's hey, how can I help you? And what are your goals this year? And how are you going to market right now? And then I start thinking of the connections before the customers. I want to know who your best referral partners are. I want to know are you fully funded? Where do you like everything a business needs. Once you're working on your business together, it's a little more collaborative. And then you're just like, okay, now let's figure out the customer. Where are those at? And then maybe I know a customer. Maybe I am the customer. But before we get to that point, let's get the foundation laid, and I think those are important steps that are often missed. The networking meetings aren't meant to go into a deep pitch. It's to set up a future meeting, a one-to-one, or, would you like to work with me? What would that look like? You know what I mean? Too many people, I feel like, scare each other away from networking because they're just like, oh, I'm an introvert. I don't want to go.
I was going to go there. I actually want to ask about that because my social battery runs out about 2:00.
Really?
It does.
There's no way.
Ask my husband. When I'm not on stage, I got like Energizer Bunny when I'm on stage because it's like God flow energy, right? But when I don't know what it is about me. I think I'm kind of an introvert because small talk really annoys me. I can't do it for very long. I want the deep stuff. I want to know about what you're building and what you're excited about. And I could do that all day long. Yeah. But I swear, it's like going to a church dance and I'm like, what's your favorite color? Where do you live? How many siblings do you have? Like,
are you sure you're not a comedian? Full-time mom. That's awesome. No, and honestly, your energy would tell me otherwise because you hold everyone's attention so well and your call to actions are so specific and helpful that like people get so we're all happy to see each other at X Room or whatever event it is. And you're just like, guys, let's rein it in. And I'm like, you go, girl.
Forever to learn how to do that.
Too. I know. Not a lot of people can do it.
But that's the thing is, if you're introverted, it's not natural or comfortable to put your phone down and go shake hands and be interested, especially, and maybe that's a difference for me, that introverts are, we like deep connection, not necessarily broad connection. We like our black book to be full of deep connections, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Extroverts like to be broad, not deep.
There you go.
Right?
True.
And that's a loose term, obviously. But if you are introverted, what's your advice for getting over that discomfort?
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like everyone has intrinsic value. So don't be introvert or extrovert. You still are at a networking or a marketing event to get business. So find that you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zone to
Just
grow.
get over it.
Well, and that's the first thing. And the second thing is for the extroverts in the rooms, like go initiate a conversation with an introvert and go, would it be helpful if you're an introvert to be like, hey, Marianne, would you like to meet someone I just met at this event? And then get your permission to walk you to someone else so you don't have to sit there awkwardly for that next dance partner. It's so important in these rooms that we keep an open circle. Too many people, and this unfortunately happens even in the X room, as great as the people are and the caliber is really high, sometimes people click and they sit by the people they're friends with.
It's human nature.
It is
just
human
to be
nature.
around the people you're comfortable with.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
But if you want to make new connections at a new event, you're going to have to do things you haven't done before. You know, if you always get what you always got, and you're going to have to switch that up.
Yeah. I heard someone, and I'm an avid consumer of Mel Robbins, so it's probably from her podcast, but she was talking about introverts and extroverts. And she actually said, or her guest did, that there were places in the room to stand to meet the best people. Have you heard this?
No.
She's like, at the end of the water table, after people get their drink, if you hang out there, you'll probably start a conversation with someone. If you're by the front door, that won't happen because people are either coming or going and they're just walking right past you. So, I mean, maybe they're just start there, start at the end of the water table or the buffet table or whatever it might be. So,
I mean, I've been to a lot of big events and rooms and I've seen a lot of people on their phone. And what I try to do is approach them delicately and just consent's key and just ask them, hey, can I introduce you to someone else? If I can sense they're nervous or they feel alone or like, hey, maybe they're hanging out by themselves. Is there a reason? Maybe it's more, hey, what brings you here? It's like, well, this, or I'm seeking this. Actually, I might know someone in the room. So can I walk you over and work the room for you? Like, that's what I would do.
You're just the wingman.
I'm a hype guy. I'd love to do it. I'm a connector. I want to make the next introduction, right? And I want to break the ice for everyone. I don't think anyone should be left out. But at the same time, I know a lot of introverts too. And so the key for me is like, my business partner is a very big introvert, and it's like, how much can you handle before you shut down? Because if they're overstimulated, like you said, they have to like take the rest of the day off, be alone. And I get that. So I kind of look at it as, if you could get 4 or 5 connections out of a 90-person room, like an X room, like 300 people in that room, what are the top 5 people you want to meet? And then can we get those done? Can we find those people? And that's something that would be interesting for these networking groups to do too, is be like, hey, we're going to split up into these, breakouts, and we're going to have the creators over here, the entrepreneurs here.
That'd be fun.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And try to classify you as whatever you sign in with. You get a sticker on your name badge and you go to those groups, and then you flip and then you switch to the groups that need the other people.
So do you have your own networking group that you own, or are you a serial user of others? Or
I do it all. I do it all. I do Rotary Club. I do Connect Utah. I do TLC, Benchmark, BNI. I've been a BNI member for 10 years. I'm a director. And then I own a retail store in Harriman, and I built 2 groups there in a few months. We have like 40 people that meet weekly there on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then I'm a part of the largest BNI group in the Utah North region. We're about 80 people.
Wow.
And we track everything. It's a referral group.
Sure.
So you have to use the app like a CRM.
Yeah.
And I've been number 1 in the region for 3 years in a row.
Dang, I had no idea. This is why I did this podcast. I wanted to find out way more, right?
No, if my mom was to speak at my funeral, she'd be like, Drew was always around friends. She would tell me, and I went to school where it was very segregated, like cliquey. And if you were gothic or a skater, a stoner, a jock, preppy, it didn't matter. I'd make friends with everyone. I was the social butterfly, like, cool, I don't care.
Was that a conscious decision, or did you just find yourself doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up loving skateboarding and stuff because I love that anti-culture. I love that subculture of just like anti-authority and stuff. But like, people would stereotype me like, oh my gosh, he's wearing a Misfit shirt, he's going to hell. He's a pothead. But it's like, no, it's like, I love all that music too. My irreverent side, I love heavy metal and all that stuff. But I don't know. It just was like, I played sports and stuff too. I still love basketball and football and all that stuff. But I don't know, skateboarding and like punk rock and stuff was like,
well, I mean, we had good Charlotte. We got good music to skate too.
Yeah.
I didn't skate, but I listened to music. I think I fell off a skateboard every time I tried, but.
Well, get back on.
I don't want to. My son would love it, but I'm just like, man. Okay. So I'm also fascinated about this dichotomy seeming, because you and I have been in the sales world for a really long time.
Yeah.
You said hunting versus harvesting or farming,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. And I also think that there's, I don't know, I want to get your opinion on this, because when you are in a sales conversation, usually the buyer knows, it's no surprise to them that they're going to end up with the choice of buying a product or not. Right? They know they're in a sales conversation. But also we don't want to be unhuman.
Right.
In a sales conversation. But as a salesperson, you got to make your calls for that day. You got to make your dials for that day. You got to make all of this, the critical drivers. You have to check that box for that day. But also as a user, you don't want to feel like a box to be checked off. So Where's the harmony there?
Well, I will say, it's funny because sales is a numbers game, but the best salespeople have really good high levels of EQ. Their empathy, they're very emotionally connected, and they're very understanding of the customer's concerns. So a good salesperson isn't actually salesy. They're more of a consultant, and they're cool, calm, and collected. It's a question-based sales approach. So what makes you say that, Marianne? And you elaborate. It's good questions. It's saying, where's the problem? How much has it been costing you a day, a month, a year? How do I solve said problem, right? And they bring so much value that the person may not have been ready to buy and then signs a check. Mm-hmm. The difference is it's a guided consultation, not a sales pitch.
Right.
Right. And so authenticity and genuine nature, like that needs to be, that's why the art of selling is it's like a signature, because it's so unique to the person. You can't really mimic or give out a recited pitch because it's gimmicky. It's just, people can smell and see through it. I feel like it has to be, constructed from and crafted from a meaningful conversation. Yeah. And it's called discovery, and it's called follow-up and relationship management. And then once you've established high levels of rapport, quickly or long-term, doesn't matter, then you have their trust and attention to ask for the order or make the sale. But that typically, the next steps of a sale or closing a sale come naturally when you establish the rapport. If the rapport and trust are there, it's pretty much easy to get to what we're both trying to accomplish, right? You have to seek win-win.
Well, you said that there was a common thread between you, and I love what you're saying, because I'm picking up on this foundational aspect of when I go into either networking or sales. One's transactional, one's necessarily not. There's this common foundation of, I don't go in it for me, I go in it for you. Mm-hmm. I go in it for the person across from me. Even in a sales conversation, if I'm in it with my own agenda, that's what commission breath smells like.
Yeah. But I also think it's okay to have an upfront contract. It's called expectation management.
Yeah.
So if I was to begin a sales meeting with you, Marianne, I might say something like, hey, as we get talking about my product or service, I want to give you permission that if I'm not a good fit, you stop the meeting, just let me know. I won't get offended. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. And you say yes. And then I say, now, conversely, if you're not a good customer for me, do I have your permission to kind of close the meeting early and just not move forward with the contract? And they're like shocked that I would do that. But it's like, yeah, I don't want to waste my time either.
And it feels relieving when you say that, right?
And that's my friend at Sandler Training. That's called the upfront contract. Mm-hmm. So we have expectations as a buyer, as a salesperson. And why don't we just get those out of the way first, so that we're not like, oh my gosh, like, thank you. No pressure to buy. Thank you.
Yeah. It's not people pleasy, because people give you false yeses all day long.
Absolutely. And it's okay to tell me no, especially because time is money. And I would rather not pitch you something you're not even interested in. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it helps us get to the root of the problem. And if we're not a good fit, we can determine that early. That's great.
I want everyone that's in the game of sales to go back again, 5 minutes and just listen to this again, because it took painful years and weeks
20 years to learn it.
To figure this out.
Yeah, it's funny. I train a lot of salespeople and I've been on a lot of sales calls and it never surprises me. We all do it, but sometimes we just get so anxious or eager get to the application portion of the sale. And that's really never where the sale is made. And it's never made on the first visit. For me, it's like somewhere where the green light turns green for them when the trust has been established, a rapport is there, and you sense that they're ready to move forward and you've established like some value. You've overcome some problems in the business. You've identified this. You know what I mean?
What are some indicators to you that you have the green light? Is there a common phrase that you hear, or is there?
I mean, I feel like you ask for it. you use the old fashioned word of, so what you're telling me, and you repeat back where they're at, and then you ask for more detail, or you just basically try to understand and gauge like, hey, if you were to make a change, I know you're not interested yet, but if you were, what would have to happen? Mm-hmm. And so you want to also take out all the obstacles of someone's decision. And some of those obstacles can be legitimate. Some can just be smoke screens, right? They're just throwing obstacles because they don't want to make a decision. Mm-hmm. And that's usually comes from a place of uncertainty. They don't trust you enough. They don't know enough about your product. So you're still in discovery. You just haven't finalized the discovery. When you finalize the discovery, it's like, okay, so we do the demo. And then at that point, I mean, when would you go live with us if you wanted to move forward? Not saying you were ready yet, but I'm just trying to, Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to think about it as, hey, just so we get started, the goal is to get here. But before we get to that goal together, I want to make sure we're a good fit.
Yeah.
So then you do the necessary discovery.
And that's the upfront contract. Like we both know this is going to end. What I used to like to do with, I want to get you to your best next step, whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
I don't even know what it is yet.
Yeah.
You might not even know what it is yet, but we have to figure that out.
And that's a good question to ask. I think also to get specificity is clear, right? You got to get like really clear on each other's goals. And then, yeah, let's see if we can make this work together. Cause I'm looking for a partnership. I don't want to just have a business, customer or salesman relationship. I think that gets transactional and then you treat each other different, but all my clients are friends of mine. I go to their kids' weddings. I go to funerals. I do as much as I can to support them in and outside the business.
I think that's so neat when you can have a relationship. I remember the first time I closed a $50,000 sale and they wrote a check and submitted it and I got my commission and I was like, okay, that $10,000, 20% commission is pretty nice. And I remember seeing them at an event and I felt a little sheepish because I was like, oh man, they don't know my commission. They don't know that they just paid me $10,000 to have them enter into this product, which was a good fit for them. But I remember feeling almost embarrassed, or I don't want to say ashamed, but like I didn't want them to know. I didn't want them to know that I had made money serving them. It felt really strange to me. Like if they figured it out, they'd think they got ripped off or something like that.
Yeah, I've never...
You don't know what that's like.
Well, I'm a people guy. I don't get hung up on the numbers. Like how much commission I'm never going to treat someone different based on how much commission I'm going to get from their account. Yeah. So I just do my best with every situation. Now, there are some accounts that don't warrant your time. And what I've learned in a 20-year sales career is learn how to close customer files quickly. Meaning like there's too many things that compete for a salesman's attention. And sometimes as salespeople, we're like, oh, they're talking to us. We should close them. It's not even worth your time. Those are the kind of customers you really need to identify. So you go after the target market that best serves you and your company. Because I've seen salespeople waste a lot of time with the wrong buyers. And then when they get sales, it's like, I hate to tell you, your commission wasn't even worth all the time and energy you put into it. Now, having said that, some customers might be good referral partners. They might be good referral sources. So it just depends on what your goal is, Like there might be, I've sold accounts that I'm like, wow, the name was worth more than just the commission. But it was the name, So sometimes it's, what's the goal?
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. When I hear you talk about this, it brings me back to when I was single and dating. Everything that you're saying works in a dating lens too. Like, I don't know if you've been through the single scene in Utah. Thank goodness we're not there anymore. But I seriously had a CRM, and I was like, first touch, second touch, draw up, and it's boiling down to this relationship building, right? And also, I hear it through the lens of parenting in terms of sales. What is the goal? If I'm trying to pitch an idea to my kids, that's a sales conversation. I have to know what they want and what I want. And ideally, if we go down the line long enough, it'll be the same point.
Yeah.
Right? These sound like just basic, fundamental human interactions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a data guy either. Like so many CRMs, late stage ops and anyone that uses Salesforce, like it's a robust software, and I get that. And I have in my head how many people I can connect with in a day and cold call on or follow up with. And I know kind of my own closing ratio, and I know what the marks I need to hit are, and try to stay true to KPIs and things like that. But at the end of the day, like, you got to do what brings you the most fulfillment and joy. And if that's, hey, I like working in my business because yes, it's vertical agnostic, but I work in hospitality. I've been in a restaurant my entire life. I was washing dishes at 13 under the table. And then I was bussing tables at 15. I was flipping pizzas at 16. And I was working at Albertsons grocery store retail around food basically for 6 straight years until I went on a mission. Now, the reality is like, not everything is like, not all restaurants are the same. Guest experience is different. But for me, the fulfillment comes now from like providing tech that gives these business owners predictable revenue, and it improves their efficiency so that they can lower food shrink costs and manage overhead correctly and improve tips and have quicker turnaround time for guests like me and you who doesn't want good food, fast service, all those things, right? And so I love selling point of sale merchant service, but that's like my favorite vertical is the hospitality.
Oh yeah, because you're all about relationships.
It is. And to me, if you're working in a restaurant, you didn't get into it for good money. I mean, you want
you can get it, but that's
It's usually because they love serving people.
Yeah.
And it's a lost art. You go to a lot of these restaurants now, and some of the younger kids, they don't know how to look at you, let alone take your order and talk to you.
Oh yeah, it's rough going into a restaurant as a millennial. Are we millennials? I don't even know what we are. But I have a hard time getting off their phone to do their job as a customer.
Right.
If I were that business owner, I'd have some words, right? Like that would not be okay.
Yeah, and see, it's my job to kind of go in and fine tune some of those system process issues. But at the end of the day, they want to make money, and their customers want to have a good experience. And restaurants live and die on reviews. Mm-hmm. Like if you had that experience and put a review up like that, that would cost them so much money. Ugh. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they need that feedback to improve as well. But obviously it's hard to find people to work in this day and age too.
Oh man. So if there was a network, a person that owned a business who knows they need to go out and network, or maybe they're just starting to go out and network, what would be the number one piece of advice you had for them?
I would read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Such a good book.
And that phrase, it's more important to be interested than interesting. And then know who your target market is so you can find your referral partners. Because let's be honest, 80% of your referrals will come from 20% of the networking group. So you got to find the 20, the 5 people out of a 40-person chapter that really understand who your customers are and they're selling to the same demographic. Because then if you partner with them, that kind of gives you that reciprocity more naturally. Mm-hmm. And I think too many people go to networking meetings and it's a what's in it for me attitude. The key to any success in networking is strengthen the influence with the customers you already have before you go in. Because you can't go to play poker like at a high stakes poker table without the right contacts. Like you got to go in with like, hey, I'm here to network, but I already have connections that you want. So let me serve you first, and I'll pony up because I have high levels of influence with my people that if I called them tonight and said, hey, I have a meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow, will you be there? They will be there. Who are those people for you? And then once we start establishing who we have been connected to, be willing to share and understand that means connecting the person in person. I think too many people are lazy with this. They're like, well, I have a really good relationship with this person. Here's their name and number. Go tell them I told you to call on them. I don't love that.
Feels like name dropping.
It does. And so I'd rather have you break the ice for me and walk me into their office at their business and be like, yeah, it's so good to see you. I brought my friend today. I want to introduce you to Drew or Marianne or whoever. And it's like, that's way more natural. And it goes so much further than, hey, here's this person's name. Good luck. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's like, no. But I see a lot of people in networking. They're like, yeah, I've been in my business for like 4 years and they have no contacts. And I'm like, where are all the people you work with? They're like, well, 4 years, but I've really only been full-time for 4 months. That's a big difference. You're asking me 20 years in business. My biggest client's RC Willie, and I own a card shop. So to put it in the vernacular of the card shop, if you came in and you want like a first edition Charizard, you got to trade something of equal value.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in networking, it's like the law of reciprocity is you have connections that are valuable to me. I have connections that are valuable to you. We both like each other. Let's go to market with each other, but let's do it the right way. So then people are like, okay, like I see what you guys are doing. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think it's especially true in the speaker world. I work with a lot of speakers and everyone, it's crazy. I was talking with Kim Perry, who's also in our X room. Great lady. We were chatting kind of behind the scenes of what TED is and isn't on a previous episode. And one of the things that we talked about is the angst that we have of where all of these ads of people like, I can promise you get booked stages. And even if you have no experience, I'm like, you can't fulfill on that promise because it requires these relationships.
Yeah.
It requires introductions. If I'm an event coordinator, I'm not going to bring on some brand new kid that I've never heard before and it's going to make me want to hide under the table in the back of the room if they present and do a bad job.
Right.
I'm going to go with the person I know. I'm going to go with the person I've shared a podcast with. I'm going to go with the person that was walked into my office by Drew or by Richard or whoever it was, because there is a trust foundation that comes with someone introducing someone else.
Absolutely. And I mean, when I say strengthen the influence you have with your clients, that means bring them massive value outside of your paycheck. So whether it's a monetary benefit for me or not, I will go serve my clients and just go, what keeps you up at night in this business? And they'll be like, oh my gosh, like the roof was leaking. Now I have this insurance claim. And I'm like, well, I know so many people that do restoration, flood damage services. I know insurance agents. I know insurance adjusters. I know enough people to really get that job done right. Would it be helpful to connect you with any of them? And then I'll usually find 2 or 3 or 4 referrals with my existing clients all the time. And then my trades are very grateful that I know a lot of different verticals. And I just work with a lot of people and I zip around this freeway. Like I average 100 miles a day on my car.
Oh my
I'm a road warrior. So I'm always visiting people and asking what they need. And my clients now are kind of trained to call me and they're like, I don't even go to like Google or you're like my personal Angie's list. I just call you and you have people. I'm sure Sean feels that way too.
I'm sure he does.
There are probably so many people saying, give me a connection to this or that. And he's
so
like,
fast about it.
He's usually pretty fast about it.
Within an hour, usually.
Yeah. He's probably, hard to get to do the in-person side of it. Like, hey, I'm going to set up a lunch. That's like a very generous use of his time. If he used to do that for you, it's like, obviously, he's got so many partnerships going. I know.
He did it for us when we first met. He's like, come to my office, spend 2 hours with me. And I was like,
yeah,
this isn't a sales pitch. You want to talk to me?
Yeah. Yeah. He's incredible.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've, to get his attention, I served first. It was like, he was like making fun of me, like, oh, you're a nerd. Like, I'm like, why? Because I'm wearing a Mario hoodie. It's my business. Like I own a game store. And then I was just like, you know what? I'll sign up to be an affiliate with Tax Hive. And I've sent him like 40 clients.
Yeah. Yeah. We did the same thing.
And then it was like, okay, he knows people. And I'm like, I do know people.
Yeah.
And they do buy stuff. They're not just, I'm not going to waste anyone's time with the referrals if it's not what you want. Now, most people, that's the key word is like, they don't know who their target customer is. So when they stand up and they're like, I'm a full service or I sell to everyone. Well, first of all, nobody serves everyone. They'd like to, but they know that their best customer has certain attributes and qualities that if you will describe to me, I can duplicate that next best customer for you.
Right.
If you'll tell me, hey, they're 40 to 60 years old, they live in Sandy or West Jordan, that, you know what I mean? Down to the granularity, I can probably find you the same person.
And that's what happens in Connect Utah.
Yeah.
I see that all the time. And whenever someone describes their problem, I go through my Rolodex of the people. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy that works with me served dyslexics, and these guys are dyslexic and they needed a job advancement. Boom, I'm going to tag you. Right?
Yeah. Roger's done a great job creating that community, and shout out to all the leadership there. I love Connect and all the people that contribute in the ways they do. The one thing that's hard as a customer, if I go on and say, hey, I'm looking for this, everyone tags their friends. And I think there should be a rule that says, hey, you should only refer someone if you've either used them or actually referred them, because tagging someone just because you like them tends to be a little biased. And so what happens is they will say, well, I'm like, you're a business, you've used this service? They're like, well, no, but they're just cool. And they're in the meeting. I'm like, oh, okay, you like them. That's good. But
it says something, but not everything.
But as a consumer, it's like, I'm like, do I go after 20 people's popularity choice? Or do I go after the person that's actually used them? They said they did a good job. You know, it's hard to see through that sometimes. So that's why an in-person referral is really good. And then you can get that introduction made with a little more accuracy, and you have that little more depth of their character when you're there.
So when you're networking, that was be your first piece of advice. Let's shift gears into the sales, and then I want to talk about your foundation work.
All right.
If there was one piece of advice, maybe it's the same thing you've repeated to trainees over the last 20 years. What's the one thing that everyone in sales needs to know from you?
Gosh. Well, I'm going to give you my experience.
Yeah.
Okay. So 20 years ago, I was off this mission. My friend says, quit your job at Home Depot, come do summer sales with me.
I can't believe how many times has that line been said, right? Especially missionaries.
Yeah.
They know door to door, man.
And I'm like, okay, whatever summer sales is, let's do it. So I go interview to do a summer sales job. I didn't know there was an interview process. I just thought my friend already hired me. I don't know.
Was it solar?
It was home security. This is
okay.
2007. And so I go interview I go to this informative meeting, and there's like 20.
Isn't that funny how they disguise it all the time?
There's
Richard's laughing over here.
Yeah, there's like 20 dudes, like they're like on a high protein diet, and you're like, dude, what?
The bro squad.
The bro squad. The BYU All-Stars.
Oh my gosh. I was in that. I was the only girl.
Yeah. And so like we're watching this video, and this dude's like, I made $180,000, you know, and like you're getting all like stoked, like there's a lot of money to be made, it sounds like. And then we get pulled off one-to-one, like in the VP's office, regional manager office. And so I remember sitting in there, I think it was Jared Taggart and Ben Ward. And he basically looks at me and he goes, so you grew up with Anzac. That's great. How much do you know about alarm systems? And I go, nothing. I'm third oldest of 8 kids. My parents were so poor, they couldn't afford one if they wanted to. So like,
I have a dog.
No,
they didn't even have that.
Didn't have that. And so they were like, okay, well, how much do you know about sales? And I said, very little. But I do know one thing. And they said, oh yeah, what's that? I can outwork everybody in this office. And so I think the 2 most important things you need to be successful in sales: positive mental attitude and a strong work ethic. If you can outwork everyone, you'll make sales. Because that's the problem. A lot of people think you have to be gifted with the gift of gab or some like crazy high level of charisma to be good at sales. And honestly, you have to be good at listening and asking good questions. And so you're going to have to put thought into your approach, and you can't be a total dud that way. So yes, it would help you to take like a communication class in high school or college, or even there's so many free books out there. But then your attitude is everything. It is more important than any skill you have. And if you find that attitude to be positive and helpful, and your attitude is, I want to serve you, you will attract to your life, the business, the things you deserve. Now, a lot of people in sales like get in because they want the nice car, and those things are fun or whatever, but that's not going to keep you interested in sales.
Yep.
Like I'm 20 years in, I can tell you, like I live for the hunt. I don't really, hey, there's one sale I have, and then when I have it, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'll keep going. Like I'll continue to provide value and serve and try to develop the industry and sales because I love it. Like I think it's been for me an amazing career. But so many people have different experiences, but to me, those are the two things that I would say you need, or I could give you. That's it.
I want to shift into the foundation work because that's a story that was like, we have to chat.
Sure.
I have to talk with Drew about this. Where do you want to start with that? I mean, we can start with the missionary, where you started with it.
I mean, I've been married 20 years this June.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. 5 years ago, my son was stillborn and we lost him, and I ended up burying my son on the coldest day in December of 2021. And that was like the hardest day of my life. And when that happened, a friend of mine, Camille Hawkins, she had the idea of starting a nonprofit called the Wellness Farm. And she had several miscarriages and was like, hey, it's for grief and trauma victims. So she approached me to serve on the board, and it was a crappy club to be a part of, to be honest, but it's been pretty fulfilling to help people that have lost either babies or teenage suicides, or just, we're all suffering from loss at some level. And so to give back and try to, serve and do the right thing for people, it's been humbling, to say the least.
I, first of all, just want to say thank you for sharing this and for sharing your story. I know it's, like you said, a crappy club to be a part of.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool that you're leveraging the pain of that, which may never go away completely, into something that can help other people. Yeah.
I kind of default to being an eternal optimist. I'm positive by default, but I think, as grief never goes away, the last thing you want to do is be alone with it and suffer from it silently. So first, go take a tour of the Wellness Farm, follow it on social media, Instagram, whatever. And then obviously share, stories of people so we can find these families and get them the help they need.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, is so many people suffer in silence because they don't want to come forward. They could be introverted, or they could be like embarrassed, but so many people are suffering from something that they could get help for free.
I relate to that because it is hard, especially in the world of coaching.
Yeah.
To ask for help.
Yeah.
Because if you're a coach, you're like, oh, I teach people these tools. I give this is what I do. I should not have to need it myself. And that's completely backwards.
Yeah. That's a good point. And too many people from these type of losses suffer. Like my spouse, she tried to take her own life a year later because the postpartum was so high. Gosh. And now she's recovering from, being diagnosed with bipolar, and then also struggling with like a brain tumor. And that's been incredibly hard on my teenage daughter, who's kind of following in the same footsteps. And suicide's a very real problem. 80% of suicides are men. So check on the men in your life that are quiet, because chances are they're not getting the love or attention they need. They don't know. I was just at a breathwork class last night with Sean.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot, Richard was going to go to that.
I was going to go, but I just couldn't make it. I was planning on it, and
it's really good.
I went to the first one. I hate that I missed last night.
Yeah, it was really good. And it's good to be around those circles of people that are like, are struggling with stuff, and then just try to, work through it and have a safe place to do so. And that's what we do at the Wellness Farm. They do breathe work. They do sound baths. They do all that stuff, yoga retreats, mostly women. Mm-hmm. Interesting, but we're trying to get more men to come forward and be a part of it, because I don't think we know how to do that stuff. We think like it's against our masculine energy or something, but it's like you got to do it.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because Richard and I have kind of behind the scenes started not a side quest. It's our main mission that everything else is becoming a side support to, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's like the chapel and everything else is a buttress to it. We are building this ranch. Our line of sight is focused on a ranch that is supporting boys coming of age and supporting men, and then also supporting the entity of the couple, the man and woman together. I don't know if you know the Covey's Foundation with Bridal Up Hope.
No, I don't.
Oh, it's changed our family, but they only service girls and women. And I have a 13-year-old son. who I need a program like this for him. BSA has failed us.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other men's group that have failed us. I've just signed up for another one. They're like, we're just closing down our chapter in your area. And I was like, golly, okay, God, what do you want me to do with this? And usually the answer is start your own, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is so in line with what we want to build and who we want to serve.
Yeah. Last year, I took all the stress that was going on in my life. I lost my best friend in March, and it was more of not a physical death, but like death of a friendship that I was like, man, this is my best friend, you know? And it was hard. It was hard for me to process. So I went on a men's mental health retreat with our mutual friends, Tyson and Logan.
Oh, yeah.
Dad bods and beards. And, you know, what ended up being a jungle high adventure, like, cause man, that 5-hour hike like wore me out. That was the first of the trip. And it was like, man, the rest of the trip, I'm just like, I just want to rest. But it was so good. It was healing. And there was a lot of good dialogue and, group therapy at night that we did. And it just got to know those guys. Now they're like my brothers, you know, and, definitely it's important to be able to like open up and explore like stress and trauma, but then don't necessarily avoid it. Just let it go through you because it needs to. It's part of the human experience. So I'm not an expert at it. I just know that the more we're alone and isolated, the harder it is to deal with. And I am a people magnet. I love being out amongst the people. I bury my head in work. I'm an avoidance. It's not necessarily the healthiest way to deal with my problems, but I do go to the gym and I walk and try to listen to a lot of good books and try to be around good people. I even joined a men's Bible study group.
Cool.
At like 6 a.m. I don't know why I signed up for this. It's hard, but my homie, Clark Bell, put this together. Shout out Clark. He's a successful entrepreneur and, he's like, hey, I want to study the Bible with you guys. And I was like, that's awesome. And yeah, it's not, hey, this is our religious duty. It's just, how do we deepen our relationship with Jesus Christ? And I was like, I'm in, let's do it. It's been great.
Can I ask about that?
Sure.
You know, I really want to understand. I've been on my own journey of coming to know Jesus Christ. And I think my best relationship with him was right after my divorce when he was the only man I could trust. What's your relationship like?
You know, my brother is one of my best friends. My brother, Paul. And my mom named him after Paul, the greatest apostle of all time. And we studied Acts recently, so I'll just share this story. Paul was an amazing missionary, but he wasn't always an amazing missionary. He was Saul the persecutor, and then he went on the road to Damascus, right? And then he became Paul the proselyter. And so Paul's story is unique to Paul. Paul was such an effective missionary and disciple of Jesus Christ because he could relate to sinners because he was that. And I think that's what Jesus Christ is for each one of us. He's patient and understanding, but he's our advocate to get to God, to our Heavenly Father. So to me, like Jesus Christ is the way. He's the truth. And my favorite scripture of all time is in the Bible is no greater love hath no man than this, than he laid down his life for his friends. So I love the imagery of just being friends with the Savior. And what are the two great commandments? To love God and to love our neighbor like ourselves. Too many people claim to be Christian, but they treat other people like trash. Like,
I see it online all the time.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not a very Christ-like thing to do. And our egos get in the way of being Christ-like. Humility and being meek and just lowly of heart, not being able to take the accolades and the glory. And that's hard for a lot of people. And that's some of the other reasons networking is hard is because some people have walls and masks on and these egos are in the way of, well, you're not cool. Like, you know, I'm not part of the Sean crew. There's multiple Seans, but you know what I mean? Like I'm not so-and-so's friend. It's like, I want to be everyone's friend, but at the same time, realistically, it's like light is attracted to light.
Yeah.
We find the people and Jesus Christ would allow us to just love everyone. And when I think about how he loves each one of us and how we have divine potential, then I'm like a lot more patient and respectful and understanding to someone. So I guess to answer your question, bring it full circle, it's treat other people like Jesus would if he were here. And also, like, when you're serving other people, you are serving Jesus Christ. So that's all I can live by, is try to do my best and let people forgive me for all the wrongs that I've done in my life, because too many people get offended and they're like, well, they gaslight you and they're like, well, you did this, so I can't be friends with you, or this happened, blah, 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 blah. Learn how Jesus Christ gave his life for everyone. And then you'll start realizing that, if I'm asking forgiveness, maybe I should forgive other people.
How did that show up in the death of the friendship you mentioned? Because I've dealt with something similar, and I want to know what your thoughts are.
I think when my wife was going through an absolute meltdown in her life, like to the psychotic explosion of, I don't think she's going to come back. Her mom and her sister were like, we need to take her to rehab. Like, it was bad. And she has the MTHFR, which is the mother effer gene. So her body doesn't produce natural levels of serotonin. You couple that with bipolar, you couple that with all the things going on, massive chemical imbalance. I mean, we were separated. I thought my marriage was pretty much done. And my friend was just with me, and she was just like, I've been through divorce. I know what it's going on. And it was just, I confided in her so much that I think there was an alternative motive. But at the end of the day, I'm just like grateful to have that experience. I'm saddened that it was like, hey, just because we can't be together doesn't mean we can't be friends. And I think sometimes that's the people pleaser in me, is like, I'm trying to make friends with everyone, and everyone there's some transactional hook sometimes, because we only have so much time on this earth. So when you spend time with people, it's kind of like, what's their angle, But for me, I love her, and I gave her the world that I could. And I was heartbroken, when things didn't work out. But at the end of the day, it's such a confusing time in my life, and I don't know. I don't have all the answers to that story for this podcast, but we'll go to lunch if you ever want to talk to me.
I do, yeah.
I'll give you all the details. But I mean, teach their own. I would just say, treat everyone with kindness and respect. You don't know what battles they're fighting. Be sensitive to that, and pray for your enemies. That's hard too. I think people sometimes think, I'm only going to go pray for my friends, but screw my enemies. No, you got to pray for your enemies too. You pray for those that are potentially capable of destroying you or your family, and you still need to pray for them. That's the hardest thing to do.
Okay, I had names that flashed through my mind when you said that, and I was like, gosh, darn, I don't have to do it out loud.
Yeah, and we all have relationships out of alignment. Think about that. That's what keeps me up at night. Sometimes I'm just like, my anxiety comes from people that are just like, they don't like me, or they don't want to do business with me, whatever. But it's also kind of like, I don't know, we're all human. We're all broken, dealing with something. So
that when I experienced the death of the friendship parallel to the story, I've been through divorce, I've been through death of friendships and so forth. And in my throwing my hands up moments, I would just say, God, your son is really pissing me off. Will you take care of him, please? Like, that was at the extent of my prayer for my enemy, so called, right? These are your kids. Please just handle them. And maybe, I don't know, it helped me just wash my hands of this sense of responsibility of fixing it. Right?
When I think you brought up Mel Robbins, like, let them.
Right. Yeah.
Just
her book
let
just flashed in my mind. Yeah.
Let them theory, right? You can't control someone's actions, and you are responsible for your attitude and for yourself. And there are some things you clearly can't control, and you're going to have to be okay with that. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, are the relationships in your life, are they serving you, or are they making you stressed out? Because you're the average income of the 5 people you hang out with. You're speaking like the people you hang out with. So are they bringing you any value? Are they the ones that have negative opinions and it's rubbing off on you? So you have to kind of take yourself out of a situation, which is hard to do.
My daughter had to go through that recently.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to watch, because when she started coming home with the woes of the friendship, it was one of the complaints that she shared with me was gossip. And I said, if something happens to this friendship, I want you to know that you will be treated the way that others are being treated behind their back by this same person. And that has been a check for me when I interface with people. If someone ever badmouths anybody else, that tells me that they would be willing to badmouth me. Behind my back.
You're not wrong. I think too many people have so many emotional insecurities though with that, and our opinions tend to take over. What I would recommend is always err on the side of positivity and assume the best in people and find the ways of win-win. Try to be collaborative, but also we're all different. And so be respectful of those differences. Don't judge them. In the words of like Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. You know, so to me, it's like there's too many lost relationships or unformed relationships because of the judgment walls we put up.
What if, okay, so in this scenario that I'm thinking of, is there ever a point where the curiosity is satisfied? Not to shift into judgmental, but you have enough evidence to say, every time I have been curious, it has yielded evidence that I don't like. And I don't want to be around this person. That doesn't mean I wish ill upon them.
Sure.
But I can't recommend them to anyone.
Well, confirmation bias comes from good communication. So you're just like, hey, I'm so curious. Why did you do this?
Yeah.
What was your intent with that? Because I think asking good questions goes deeper into anyone's relationship. Because if they can explain where their head was at or where they were at, you seek clarity, and truth comes from knowing, like, the truth will set you free. So to me, if they can clarify and you're like, okay, that makes sense. It must have been so hard for you.
But if not,
you have to understand that you don't have to participate in certain people's decision making, right? So you can kind of close those areas off of someone's life. You can be friends with them to an extent. Like you talked about a deeper circle from an introvert's point of view. I still think you can have deep relationships that are misaligned. And to me, the best relationships in my life are like trees. The strongest roots aren't because they were perfect days of love and happiness. No, it's because they were hit with those wind storms and the roots get deeper, right?
Right.
And so any good relationship's going to have problems. You're going to have to be able to forgive and let go of that resentment, or else it's going to like curse the relationship and be something you'll hang over their head.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that. Like, hey, remember, bring up the past, and you're just like, okay, that makes me feel bad. Like you never got over it. And then it causes a rift in the relationship. So communication is important. Forgiveness, understanding, mutual respect. I heard it put this way by an old church leader of mine. His name was Thomas S. Monson. He said, never let the problem to be solved more important than the person to be loved. So is the goal to just be angry? Because if so, you have issues too. You're not letting that go. But also, if the person is more important than that problem, you'll do what? Anything to resolve it. If they're worthy of love, you can do anything and resolve it. Move on. Otherwise, maybe they're not worthy of your love, and maybe you just didn't want to love them as deep as you thought. And maybe that relationship's not as important as it needs to be. That's something to think about too.
Yeah.
Because that circle for me, like I'll go pretty wide with people and I'll help a lot of people within my network and stuff. And I love spending time with people and hearing their story. But yeah, if they leech onto me and they're trying to like pull that toxic relationship card and then like infest my network and with their bad problems and stuff, nah. There's a book called How to Hug a Porcupine.
Oh yeah, they made a teenage version too, didn't they?
How to deal with toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And those could be your family, your friends, but you got to be able to manage people, and you can still love people, even like you said, at a distance. I'm not an expert on it, but it's a good book.
We have so many links to put in the show notes. We've talked about so many books. We'll get them all. I promise.
What are your top 5 books, Marianne? I'd love to hear yours.
My top 5 books? It changes every year.
Does it?
It does, because I'm just, how many books have I bought this year? Not a few. I just finished a book, if you're really interested. I'm almost done with it. It's called Wintering. And it's a book about I thought this winter was going to be really hard.
Yeah.
It was
the mildest thing ever.
But it goes into more winters of relationships and even the winters of the female cycle and all of that. So the book Wintering has been one of those books that when you pick it up, it answers the prayer from the night before.
Okay.
In a strange way. It's just been wild. So that's one of my favorites right now. Then I've got Mel Robbins' book that I'm going to be reading.
Fan of her.
I consume her podcast like it's going out of style. So I've got that next on my list. I've really come to know the Bible closely again. I got the Hallow app.
Nice.
So yeah, I was like, Chris Pratt, you got me. And so I've been doing a daily, it's not exactly meditation, but it is meditative with that.
Good.
Gosh, number 3 and 4. Okay. So I'm just going to say it because it came up, but I haven't read it yet, but I bought the book. It's called The Disconnected Man.
Okay.
And this is all about it's hi. Looking at my husband here.
Oh boy. Okay.
It's my husband dealt with a lot of hard things in his childhood, really, really hard things. And I'm trying to be a better and more supportive wife by learning more about him. So I picked up that book. So
You guys are so awesome.
I'm just trying.
You're doing it.
Number 5, probably the other book that I'm reading is The Art of Gathering.
Oh.
So I'm honestly, literally trying to learn what Sean is doing and the psychology and the science behind it because I really admire it.
His events are always well attended, and I've never been disappointed at one I've been to. They're always so uplifting in some way or another, but I just think there's a lot of interesting people in those rooms, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, my top 5?
Yeah, please give them to me.
Well, these are books that are near and dear to my heart. Now, I mean, I could read these books over and over, and they might have different impact on me today than they did when I first read them.
The best books do.
Yeah, my favorite book of all time, though, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Mm-hmm.
That book,
a great one,
changed my life, my perspective on business, and just how to attract and the big 5. I mean, I memorized that when I was in summer sales.
No kidding.
Memorized that, and I still have a printed copy in my office. Shout out Ben Ward for being my original sales mentor and helping me memorize that. And the big 5, that was huge for me. Second book was of my favorite collection is The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen that one around.
Tied with his time management book, Eat That Frog. Because Eat That Frog is based on Mark Twain said, if you had to eat a frog in a day, you'd eat the biggest, ugliest, juiciest frog, right?
And didn't he say, don't stare at it too long?
Yeah, just get it out of the way. And I think so many salespeople like don't know how to take massive action. They just like hesitate and procrastinate and over analysis by paralysis.
Do you know the project that I've had that takes 5 minutes to do that I've been putting off for 6 months? We all have it.
Right. And the story behind that one, though, the reason why it's so near and dear to me is because when I was doing summer sales, I was the top first year sales rep for a company called First Line Security. And I went, with my friend and sales mentor, and he tells this story so poignantly. His name is Ben Ward. He wrote Pluck the Fud, which is actually one of my favorite books too. But he owns Forward Leadership, and he asked Brian Tracy. Ben says, Brian, if I was your son, what's one piece of advice you would give me?
What a great question.
It's a great question. And the answer is still etched in my memory block, right? And it's kanai. That's his answer. Or kaizen, as the Japanese say. It's constant and never-ending improvement. And so I love that attitude of just getting better every day, 1% better. Mm-hmm. And he said to us, when he was a keynote speaker at First Line, so I got to meet Brian, and he said, the people that are at the front of the line were once at the back of the line. So if you get in line and stay in line and you work on your craft diligently and you don't give up, you'll eventually get there. What
a great perspective. It's inevitability.
Yeah. So, and think about it, like as we get older, the people that, we thought had all the money are retiring and moving on in life.
Oh, I know of some big names that are wanting to sell their podcasts or retiring from the stages. Names that I won't share here because it's all classified and whatever. But know them. Yeah, like they're ready to be done. Yeah. They're ready to give the throne off to somebody else.
Yeah, so that's 2 out of the 5. The third book I really like, Good to Great by Jim Collins. Fourth book I really like, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
That's another one that's in my bathroom.
Because the takeaway I got from that book was we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems, and how important our systems in our business. You got to have predictable revenue. And so I love that book from that standpoint of working on your business, not just in it. And then the last one is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Oh yeah, we've got that one.
Yeah, that book is profound. And I started business when I was 25. It was a nuts and candy business. After summer sales, I was like, I'm not going to work for these guys anymore because I didn't get my back end checks. They went bankrupt and whatever. I went and sold food down in Houston, Texas, door to door, like B2B.
Dude.
And I literally built this route, and I did everything a business owner should not do because I didn't know any better. But when I read The E-Myth, I was like, oh, this would have been nice to know. That's a prerequisite for anyone that's aspiring to start a business. You should read that.
Man, I need to reread that because there's the E-Myth Revisited as well.
Yeah. E-Myth Revisited is really good.
Super good books.
A close runner-up would be Goosebumps, issue 5. Uncanny X-Men, issue 300. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
It's funny because like when I was in Belize, like Tyson and Logan are like, you quote so many books. And I'm like, dude, the average millionaire, they read like 20 books a year.
Yeah.
That's 2 a month.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
I asked a billionaire friend of mine what book he was reading, and I bought it right away. And it is a mindful. It's called Sapiens. And I'm chewing on that with it's hard to get through. But I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is so smart.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're constantly thinking of the way money works. And if you think about it, here's a trick question. What is the most profitable profession in the world?
Thank you for telling me it was a trick question because my mind feels so much relief. I just want to say be nice to, that is most profitable is being nice to people.
Close. It's thinking. It's just using your brain. So why not feed it? Like we go to the gyms worrying about how our bodies look and how we feel. Your mind is the most important muscle in your body. Why not feed it, man? Go to the gym for your brain.
I heard this again, Mel Robbins. You're just hopefully one day you'll listen to this and know how grateful we are. But she had a neurosurgeon who works on brain cancer patients, and they did a full hemisphere ectomy. They removed half the brain.
Okay.
And this patient was not trained, was not set up to walk again because of this. The patient came back later on walking because they took away the left side of the brain, but they left the right side. And the right side is our creative side. And so they used all of the synapses that would have been used for, say, like dance, creativity and moving, and they used that for walking. And it blew me away. And it was so humbling because I had to ask, what am I doing with my whole head?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my full brain? I can't tell you how many amputees on this show.
Yeah. I think that's why Jeff Griffin's keynote is so powerful, right? Because he has that story.
Yeah.
And I won't spoil it, but everyone that knows Jeff Griffin, he's a stud. And honestly, like, I love the Ben Carr story. I love that.
Yeah.
That movie stand out. It's incredible.
I got to interview Colton's parents.
Really?
Oh my gosh, it was the coolest thing.
That's
I was
way cool.
bawling. Well, tell me, I want to ask 2 parting words questions. 1, what are your parting words? And 2, what are you the most jazzed about building right now?
Oh, geez. Jazzed about. Parting words would be, don't forget to love yourself. Loving others is important, but you can't fill other people's cups of water unless yours is filled. So do things that feed your heart and your mind with positive things. Continuously serve other people. My favorite quote of all time is Zig Ziglar. And he says, you can have anything in this world you want if you'll help enough people get what they want. So that is the law of reciprocity. That's why networking is so near and dear to my heart. Because if you do it correctly, it could be very fulfilling and satisfying. What am I jazzed about? I'm selling my storage units in Ephraim.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm going to have to do a 1031 exchange. We're going to probably buy some multifamily apartments or something different. I was going to do some of the swig deal with Sean.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I'm going to do with that money. Probably.
Don't you have only 45 days to decide?
Something. There's plenty of investment opportunities out there. I just have my attorney that's smarter than me read and find out which ones are the best where to put. I hire the fiduciaries and the CFPs because they're licensed to do what's in the best interest of my money. So I don't get, let's just do another video game store. That sounds like a great idea. Like, I remember when I invested in the game store and my wife was like, a game store? Like, what are you, 9? Like, and it's been a fun investment. It's been great, but that's like, I'm pretty risk averse. So I don't like putting things in super crazy risky things. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably the one thing I'm pretty excited about. I am working on a book.
I was going to ask, I'm like, are you going to write a book on relationships? Because it sounds like...
Yeah, sales, professional networking, relationships will be kind of throughout. But I don't know. I don't want to put out like you said, put out a book just to be like, look, throw it in people's face and stuff. I really want it to be more of like a memoir. It's not a how-to, like, go, this is how you'll sell, make 100,000, you know? It's going to be just more of like, here's my story and maybe I can do some good with it. Maybe it'll get me on some stages with it. I don't know.
Well, how far in that process are you? Because I want to do part 2. Not far.
I honestly do way too much on the networking. So I'm going to have to I'm ready to like let a lot of that go. This year, I'm actually going to the national conference in Florida for BNI. I'm going to be the Utah North Region flag bearer.
Hey.
So whatever that looks like, I'm going to go out there and represent Utah to the rest of the country with BNI people. And I'm going to go out and do that. But then after some of that BNI stuff calms down, I let those chapters that I've built kind of be self-sufficient. Start digging into this book.
Just do me a favor.
Sure.
1 sentence a day.
1 sentence a day. I like that.
Will you do that?
Yeah.
Just before you go to bed tonight, write a sentence.
Okay.
To just get it started because I want it. Selfishly, I want the book. I want it to be done.
I know, me too. That's a good idea. Yeah. 1 sentence a day. I like that. Yeah. I mean, the goal is to really, because I'm struggling. My sister wrote 3 books. She's a professor at FSU. She has her PhD. Dr. Kate Kimball, English and creative writing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you have people for this.
She went and studied women's rights too. She's not a feminist, but my sister's incredible. She's out in Tallahassee. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd love to have her on the show.
Yeah, you might need to do that soon. She just had open heart surgery. Yeah. She doesn't travel that much right now.
Well, we can do remote. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll have to get...
I've had New Zealand on the show, so...
Yeah, I'll have to get you connected.
I would love that.
She's awesome.
Oh, well, yeah. Is there anything that you want to leave our audience with today?
You know, just find me, follow me. My YouTube channel is just Drew Kimball. I'm the dude that looks like Doctor Strange. All my friends are nerds. I never saw it
before. You're so right.
You got it's probably the best Marvel movie on there. I did a parody commercial.
I'm gonna have to go watch it.
Yeah,
we'll link that in the show notes too. Okay.
Yeah, you should. But no, seriously, that Zig Ziglar quote. That's the parting words. You can have anything in this world you want if you'll help enough people get what they want.
I can't think of a better thing to say after that. All I have to say is thank you.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you for being
awesome.
here. Thanks for spending time with us. Yeah. Thanks for sharing more of who you are with me and the people that get to watch.
Yeah.
My
pleasure.
I'm even more appreciative that we're sharing worlds together.
Feelings mutual, my friend.
Beautiful.
Keep killing it.
Thank you for being here. And again, if anyone, especially this episode, I know that there are names that crossed your mind because there are names that crossed my mind. There's names of people that I already want to share this episode with. So if those names crossed through your mind, and I know they did, that is because they are praying for something that you just heard. So go back to that moment where you thought of their name, send this episode to them and say, hey, I was just thinking of you. And I'm not getting you to do this because I need the shares or whatever. I'm getting you to do this because I want you to be an answer to prayer. So thank you for being here on the Marianne Hickman Show. We'll see you next time.